Alright, let's go ahead and generate another piece of our helmet. And in order to do so, we'll need a square with these portions. And in order to do so, we'll need a cube with these portions. It's a good idea to add some loops on the biggest faces, because we'll have to deform it a lot. And now, simply, we'll change the polygroup to each face in order to make our job easier. And then, it would be just about locating. So, let's just adjust this. In this case, what is important is the red face, the red polygroup, and we'll delete the rest later on. Let's cut it a bit. Let's make the polygons even. They're looking too irregular. And let's fix some ends down here. Oop. We'll have to fix this. Once we finish with the adjustments, we delete the polygons we won't need, using delete hidden. And hit mirror and weld in order to get both sides exactly the same. Let's add a couple of subdivisions and adjust the mesh over here. The idea is to make the piece even. And now, let's remove the subdivisions. Once we get the piece ready, we'll apply a zero measure at a thickness and now the idea is to generate kind of a frame. We need to make some borders for the piece, and we'll start working with this mask. First, convert this into another polygroup so it's easier to modify it. Let's adjust these borders again. We don't want them so curved. The idea here is to get a piece with an even thickness. So we have to adjust this portion because it is a bit too wide. And now we simply define the height. After finishing with this border, we'll simply apply a crease in order to keep the borders rigid. Now that we've got this piece, I'd recommend to duplicate it because we'll need it in order to generate another plate he's got above. Once you get the duplicate, the idea is to hide some sections, minimize what we don't need, and apply zero measure. Let's delete some polygons in order to make our job easier on this piece, until we get some basic polygons like these ones. It is now simply about adjusting it. The idea is to use this piece we've just created to make a metallic piece, and the fewer polygons it's got, the easier it'll be to adjust it. Let's add another one over here, just in case. Then over here. Sorry, my bad. We're taking advantage of the fact that the main piece was on the surface of the object in order to place it as close as possible. Let's fix a bit more the height. Perhaps it is too low. I'd say it would be alright over here. And now we can add a thickness. Let's add a crease on the border so it keeps the piece rigid. Alright, almost done. Now, to this piece, what we'll do is to add some subdivisions, and the same as before, we'll duplicate this piece in order to have a backup. Basically, what we'll do is to repeat what we've done on the previous video. We'll use a piece in order to project the details over the other one. Grab one and apply zero measure. Alright, over here, well, we didn't get well the ends, but we'll fix this by using project. This way, once we have projected the piece, we get a plate with an even amount of polygons, with an even topology. Now, it's simply about polishing and removing these imperfections. Polish here. A bit more over here. And I think that's enough. We won't need this other piece anymore. So let's delete it. And let's carry on with another piece. For this piece, we'll need some planes like these ones. You already know how to create them. And simply start adjusting them. The idea is to create some accessories for the helmet in order to add some more volume. Let's add the thickness and adjust it. A bit thinner. It's kind of too wide. Okay. Now, let's place it where it is supposed to be. Alright, once we get it on the right place, maybe let's modify it a bit, since it's a bit too wide. I'd say like that. Let's grab this piece and create some other copies. Okay, let's fix this a bit. Alright. Using the transpose, we'll press the middle cursor, and as we move it, we'll hold Control in order to create the duplicate. And now, we simply place it where it is supposed to be. Alright. Okay, let's add a crease on the borders. in order to get it more rigid. We've done it on the left arm, where it shouldn't have been. So what we'll do is to apply a mirror in order to get it on the right side. Let's add some loops in the middle, so it's deformed better. Later on, when we add details, some over here, and on the other one as well. Wait. Now that we've got them on the right side and with the loops, we can apply mirror and weld. Once we get this, and we are sure the pieces have got the same amount of polygons, now we'll simply combine them using merge down in order to get this piece with a single subtool. Let's modify a bit the thickness on certain areas, because now with this subtool we've got this compound subtool we've created. Let's create some copies, although we'll have to adjust a bit first with masks. The idea is to apply some copies of this piece. Now it's simply about duplicating the subtool and place it where it's supposed to be. Let's grab another one. And the last one. To the last one we've just made, we'll apply a special treatment, because there are some plates we'll have to remove. Let's remove the highest subdivisions. And what we'll do is to leave, let's hit outer group in order to make it easier to hide. And we'll leave only this basic plate. Let's remove the subdivision from those pieces. And once we get the pieces isolated, we'll add some subdivisions until we get 3 as well. The idea is that we'll combine these 3 pieces. Let's modify it a bit over here. We'll modify each one of the pieces so they don't overlap with the body of the character. Adjust a bit this section. And once we get the plates with the same amount of subdivisions and organized, we'll simply combine them. Alright, with this, we've already got another piece of our helmet, and we've applied techniques you already know. Before finishing, I'll tell you your assignment. By using the same technique covered in this video, create some other insets for the rest of the helmet. They're some kind of pyramids that we'll embed along different sections of the helmet. Over here, there are some images you can use as reference, so you can make them. This is it for the time being, and I'll see you then on the next video.